Hey YouTube, I'm Devin.
And I'm Carter. And today we're going to be skinning coyotes. Jeez, man. Right. So you find the Achilles, go down to its elbow, put your finger in it. You don't want to scuff up that Achilles. You get this kitchen knife here and you just pop it. And you do that on both legs. You get this thing to hang it. We just have a little bolt here we always hang it by. Hang it.
Your first step is you're going to want to start up here, right below where you put the hook in, and you're going to want to cut right around the fur in a circle. You're going to do it on both legs. Right up here, tuck in your knife and just kind of give it a pull like that until it breaks open. You're going to want to follow this color change right here all the way to the anus. It's kind of redder over here and white on this side. Follow that line. I always wear gloves just because all the gross stuff everywhere. You're going to want to cut 360 degrees around the anus, and it's all right if you leave a little bit of fur there, because that much fur is not going to matter. Okay, so once you skin around the butt, skin around the ankles, grab it right here and start pulling it down. Once you strip down the legs, when you start actually using your knife and cutting against the pelt and the meat, you're going to want to pull down. You're going to want to hook your fingers underneath. You're going to want to push with your knuckles against the animal and pull down. All this white kind of foamy stuff is what you're going to want to cut. And that'll start separating your hide from the meat. This right here is kind of where the ball sack is, because this is a male coyote. You're going to want to start cutting away from the anus, and you're going to want to peel it all the way over to this other side like that. Remember, the stuff you're wanting to cut is that kind of white foamy stuff right next to the meat as you're pulling down. If you don't pull down, it's not going to make that little foamy stuff for you to cut, and you're going to have a hard time distinguishing your hide. This crotch area is the hardest part of this entire animal. So you just kind of gotta work slow at it. It'll take you a little while to get used to skinning an animal if you've never done it before. Right here, that's where his pecker starts. That's where all his tubing is. So you're gonna have to follow that all the way down against the hide. And again, if you can do pulling down and you don't have to do any cutting, you're better off, so you're not putting holes in your hide. You gotta just keep going at it and follow down the pecker. Once you get down to the end, it'll cut off just like that, and you'll just be left with a little hole where that was. So you can't see that because it's too much fur, but that's what happens. Okay, next we're going to want to move back over to the back side. Right here, it's a little tough to pull down on that, so you're going to start cutting this foam stuff. You're going to do that on both sides of the tail. Okay, once you can get it separated, your hide from the back underneath the tail, like that, and then you can kind of pull down on it, just like you did with the rest, until you have that nice open gap like that. Okay, so the next part you're going to do after that is you're going to find the middle of the tail. You're going to want to make sure all the dark stuff is on the top, all the light stuff is on the bottom, because if you have it twisted like this, it's going to mess up your process. Now, what you want to do, find the middle of the tail on the back side, and cut your way down it. want to cut down at about 6 inches. And then you're going to want to start separating the rest of it all the way 360 degrees around the tail. There you go. You can kind of pull on it if you don't nick the hide, and it'll pull it down some of that way. Okay, the next thing we're going to need is this right here. It's called a tail stripper. It's about $3 or $4. You can buy it at Cal Ranch, you can buy it at Cabela's, you can buy it at Sportsman's. What I've done before, since I didn't have this, is you can take paper towels, you can twist them up so they're real hard, and then you just fold it around there so you have something to grab to push the tail down. So you're going to want it so it fits perfectly around that tail. You're going to grab it like this, and you're going to start pulling down on it like that, and it'll pull the tail, right? I'm going to be getting down lower. This tail is going to be sitting there smacking me in the face. So I'm going to take my knife, I'm going to cut the meat around it, and I'm going to snap off this tail. The next thing I'm going to do, you just start pulling down on your fur. You can cut it if you want to, but there's not really any point in doing that, other than if you want a bunch of holes. If you want a Swiss Coyote, go ahead and cut all the way down it, but I just grab it and strip it down all the way down the body. Alright, so now we're at the front shoulders, and it's time to get your knife back out. This is probably the second hardest part of skinning an animal. It's kind of just a feel of where that hide's at so you're not putting a bunch of holes in it. This part probably takes the longest, in my opinion, if you're careful. If you're not careful, it goes pretty quick. It's going to be the exact same we used up here right below the base of the tail, opening up that gap. You're going to want to find where you can start seeing your fingers. And you're going to want to poke a hole right through it, stick your finger through it, and start pulling down. Put away the havalon, because when you're cutting against bones, it dulls these havalons really fast. So I go back to my kitchen knife, so you cut right around there. And a sharp knife in this is going to be your best friend. If you're working with the dull knife, you're going to have one heck of a time doing this. You're still filming? Mm-hmm. Okay, so once I get about 4 fingers width, it's about 4 inches, maybe 3.5, something like that. You're going to want to take it, and you're just going to cut all the way around this. Just like that. You're going to want to connect them on the back side, and then you can pull your leg through that hole. You're going to leave it just like that. You're going to do the same with both legs. Okay, now that you have the arms out, we're going to cut right down here on the neck because it's hard to, dang it.
And he didn't miss the yarding on that one.
Yep. Toilet paper or a thing of paper towels is going to be your best friend when you cut the blood. A blood vessel or something, because it'll stain up your fur. As you take it and it's dry, you just stick it right to that wet surface and it'll hold there as you're skinning. And it'll keep you from soaking everything else in blood. You're going to start pulling down on this, and you're going to start cutting around this head. Okay, the best place to find your ears is right here after you come over the back of the skull. When you start skinning, you'll see it fold clear down, and right here you'll have an empty space in the middle. I like putting my finger in that, kind of pulling on it a little bit to make it bigger so I know exactly where the ear's at. The ears are here and here. You can see it here, and you can kind of feel them too if you want. So you're going to come back here towards the very bottom of the ears, and you can feel where they connect there. You're going to want to cut through them all the way through. And all you're going to be cutting here is cartilage, if you cut close to the skull at least. You can then trim off the cartilage and stuff later once you know exactly where everything's at. I'll be showing that to you in my next video. We're going to show you how to flesh coyotes and how to stretch them. So now that I have these done, I'm going to stick my fingers in them and I'm going to pull it down as far as I can. The next thing you're going to need to start doing is feeling for the eyes. My eyes are right here, so I need to go down just a tinge further. Alrighty, here's where you can actually see the eye really good. It's just right behind this. You can feel it with your hand. You can feel the socket. You can feel the eye rolling in there. You're going to put your finger up the ear until you can pull it away from the skull, just like this. And then you're going to cut in there as deep as you can and as close to that skull as you can. Otherwise, you'll cut off the eyelid. With taxidermy mounts, the head's the most important part for what we're doing. The head doesn't matter at all, but it always is easier to flesh out when you can keep everything clean cut. And there's his eye right there, poking through. So we've cut the eyelid, follow it all the way down until you hit the tear gland in there. This is where the jaw starts. You're gonna kind of just cut there and pull, and you'll start to see the teeth coming through. Following the jaw down, that's all you gotta do. Once you get to the end, dig your knife in there and just cut all the way around that and pull that bottom jaw off real nice. Okay, now that we're at the nose, pull down a little bit and kind of work your way around there. Cartilage is going to start coming through and you can feel that it's soft right here. That's what you want. You're going to want to follow that down as far as you can go. I normally don't do it too far because I can touch it up after I cut the nose off. Now that you have it down here, you can see where your hide's at. Take your knife, put it like this, and cut directly down to the teeth. You're going to want to separate it like that, and then you're going to want to just separate your front lip from the skull. Ta-da! Okay, so that's how we skin our coyotes. Our next video is going to be how to flesh a coyote, how to pin them on boards and stretch them for sale. Stay tuned. I'm Devin.
I'm Carter.
And this is Brush Bros.